Another question here. What are the limits of working virtually, not 9 to 5? What tensions are created when you work in a flex situation? Well, you have to first of all find the right kind of people to work in sort of a remote, not 9 to 5 situation. Not everybody's comfortable with that, and we totally understand that. So you have to find the right kind of people. But once you find the right kind of people, it's a pretty natural way to work, actually. We think it's a lot less natural to force everyone to work at the same exact time. As far as tensions that are created, I mean, we don't really see any tensions about this. And the only thing you have to be careful with is when you don't have a clear end to the day, sometimes people can work a little bit too long. And that's a problem. We don't want people working very long. You know, we want people to work a normal work week and not put in 60 hours or 80 hours or anything like that. Occasionally that sort of work week might happen, but we really try and work against that. So that's one of the issues with working when you don't have sort of fixed go-home hours, like go home at 5. So you got to kind of watch that so you don't have workaholics working for you, because workaholism, while it's celebrated in our culture as like those are the heroes, those are the people who are working really hard, at the end of the day, they're really not the people you want to worship, because they're going to burn out, they're not going to make good decisions, and it also kind of means that they're not really working that smart, they're just working a lot longer. And when you work longer, you're not working better, you're simply working longer. And that's just not always the right way to do it. So we're a big fan of keeping people's hours, keeping hours right. Let's see here. I'm looking at some other questions here. What are my thoughts about starting a company in small towns in the boonies? I don't really think it matters where you start your company. Now, of course, that's not entirely true. I mean, it would be hard to start a big restaurant in a small town or something like that. Or if you're in a small town and there's, 2 dry cleaners and you want to start another one, that might be a problem. But I think for most service-based businesses, especially today with the web and the internet and whatever, you can kind of be anywhere, and you can hire people from anywhere. One of our best programmers lives in Idaho. One of our best designers lives in Oklahoma City. One of our sysadmins lives in Spain or Portugal. I don't know where. Actually, he's in Mexico right now. I think he's sort of a traveling kind of guy, and that's fine. So just because you're in the boonies and you don't have access to the best talent locally, it doesn't mean that you can't do your job well and you can't build a great company. Of course, it always depends what you're doing. Everything I say, there's a caveat. It depends. But for the most part, in terms of a lot of companies today, service-based companies that provide services over the internet, over the web, or even over the phone, it doesn't really even matter where you work. So I think if you have a great idea, you should just start it. You shouldn't say, if I lived in San Francisco, I could do this, or if I lived in New York, I could do this, or if I was in Chicago, then I would do this. Don't let that stuff talk you out of not actually starting a business. So start it wherever you are, get it going, see what happens. If you want to move one day, move one day. But only move because you want to move, not because you feel like you have to move. I just don't feel like you have to move anywhere.